Welcome back, guys, to the Be Bold podcast. I am here today with these awesome rock stars, Ray Nunez and Orianna. They are the senior account executives for PadSplit. Did I not mess that up?
Perfect.
Perfect.
Actually, perfect.
So they are the senior account executives for PadSplit. But before we get into deep diving about real estate and PadSplit today, I want to welcome you guys all back to the Be Bold podcast. Remember to check the description below. We are going to be having everything that we talked about and the link to sign up to PadSplit for your accessibility. So tell people what PadSplit is that don't understand and probably like, this is new, I just tuned in. I know a lot of the viewers, it's going to be something new, and it's very new concept, I feel like. I know you guys have been open since 2017. 2017, they now launched. They're 175 employees deep. They're across the world.
Yep.
What is PadSplit?
PadSplit is the largest co-living marketplace. So what PadSplit is doing is working with investors, sharing with them and showing them how to maximize spaces in their properties to create additional returns on their existing properties, by still providing affordable housing for individuals that do not qualify for renting today or buying in today's market. So we're providing a solution for both parties, investors that are not finding high returns and individuals that are not able to find a place where to live that fits within their financial needs.
Got it. And so do you feel like these individuals are medical professionals? Are they like somebody who works at Amazon? Do you guys have like any data of where you're seeing most of these people who need affordable housing? Where are they coming from? Are they coming from the retail side? Are they coming from medical, young medical professionals who just got out of school? Do you guys have any data points on where these people are like, where are they coming from?
Where do they work? We have data sets on income and who's been approved, how many been approved, what city they're approved at.
Bless you, by the way.
Sorry.
Bless you. What they're looking for. And so that's the data sets we do have, but what we know logically is that if your property is near a lot of medical offices like in Lake Nona, Medical City, you're gonna attract more people from that job source. You're not gonna organically pull people from Disney unless they're taking 417 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it is very heavy on where your house is located.
Yeah.
And then intentionally then trying to market towards those people.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember last time we spoke when we were walking my property. Do you guys realize there's huge companies like downtown Orlando, they're doing a co-living now, high rise?
Yeah.
Disney's doing the need for it is just inevitable, right?
Yeah.
We can't ignore how much affordable housing is needed
Right.
and it's not created.
Now, we have two sets of affordable housing, guys. You have for families and you have for co-living. This is for single individuals who are looking for a stepping stone.
Correct.
I remember Ray saying last time the typical retention rate is 8 to 12 months?
It's
How long are people staying in these properties?
on average, you're looking at about 9 months.
9 months?
Currently.
9 months currently. So I've now launched my first PadSplit.
Congratulations.
Thank
Congrats,
you so
bro.
much. Six
That was
lists.
fast.
Yeah, well, I guess I cheated a little bit just because I have, it was a previous Airbnb. I'm not sure if Ray told you the story.
Right.
I had issue with code enforcement, and so now I've pivoted into a PadSplit. I had options. I could have sold the property. I could have taken all that equity and just dumped it, where else. But eventually, once bank rates get, more in my favor, I'm going to do another cycle of cash out refinance on that property. I've already done it once, so I'll do it again once rates come back down.
Marry the property, date the rate.
Right. And I like to marry my money, not date my money, if that makes sense. I like long-term wealth. I like, more passive income. So me as the investor, I told myself, I was like, you know what? I don't want to sell because I'm going to get hit with capital gains. I rather cash flow, I rather tax depreciation, and I rather future appreciation. And I can keep going on about other benefits. So I was like, in my mind, I was like, you know what? I walk right through the property. Now we're here today. I finally got my first member.
Congratulations.
By the way,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he is. I feel like the quality of the member is outstanding. Very professional, very responsive. He's followed all the rules other than registering his car. So what happens when somebody doesn't register a car? They reach out to customer service, or what happens if I didn't have the parking? We'd have to relocate this guy.
100%. So you'll rely heavily on host support to guide you in the process, as well as having a good account executive that could guide you in that process. And so that's why it's important to kind of have systems in place. That's why it's very important to be vigilant to some degree. You have cameras on side of your house, you can notice that there's a person with a car. And it's fairly easy though. I know you wouldn't want to get rid of that one member because they're a great member, but if they came with a car and you didn't have a place to put them, at that point then it's a judgment call on the host. Do you want to now stick out in your neighborhood? Do you want to have an extra car in your neighborhood?
Right.
Do you run the risk of your operation because of a person?
Right. And that's not worth it. So with him, we reach out to him right away. Luckily, we have the spaces for him to park in, because he's now my first member. I don't know if you saw or how much you looked at my account, but on the one side that there's 4 bedrooms, I put 3 parking spaces.
Nice.
And on the other side, there's a 1-1. This is a multi-unit, by the way. I'm not sure if you know that.
No.
But it's a multi-unit, so I got 4 bedroom, 1 bath on one side, and then I have, on the other side, I have a 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
Oh, nice.
With a whole beautiful kitchen. Like, if I was the member, I would be booking the other side first because it's more exclusive, more privacy. You get your own kitchen. You don't have to share with other people. I mean, for me, it's no-brainer.
And you're probably going to get a higher rate in that unit that's smaller as well because of what you just mentioned.
Yeah. And so my first unit, so for people who are listening to this, guys, you guys tuning in, I got $97 move-in fee, and I got $263, I think, for the week.
Nice.
$263 for the week. And so that member will get to elect if they want to pay weekly or bi-weekly. Is that right?
They do, yeah.
And if they pay bi-weekly, they can pay every 2 weeks.
That's right.
And the cool thing about this for investors, what really attracted me to the model was not only do I get a higher return, is I'm more leveraged across the property. So if I would have rented that one unit to one individual, right, one family, and they don't pay, guess what? I'm out of business.
Yeah.
But
Your
now that I
overhead
have
is
4 bedrooms, I'm only out of business for one person.
100%. You're diversifying your revenue stream within your own house.
Yeah.
You truly are multi-family returns. Your one unit is one income.
Right. And so that's why I was so heavily in short-term rental, which I still am. I love short-term rental. I just launched another property. I got to show you guys my North Carolina property I just launched.
I might move to North Carolina.
And you'll be surprised at how many short-term rental investors are transitioning into passive right now.
Yeah.
We're seeing a huge influx of those because a lot of them weren't necessarily real estate investors professionals. They didn't pivot on time.
Yep.
Saturation, call it, regulation.
Regulations, yep.
And they're turning into us.
Do you feel like pad split will get saturated like Airbnb did? So like I can tell you from an Airbnb standpoint.
Yeah.
So I've been a host since 2015 on Airbnb. I have 15 properties on Airbnb.
Yeah, you've been doing it for a while.
I've been doing it for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So I noticed since 2015 with over 1,000 reviews as an Airbnb host, you used to be able to take a property, put furniture in it, make a killing, make those multifamily returns. Now it's gotten so saturated, everybody, their mom, their brother, their grandma has an Airbnb. It's what it has done is the demand is still there, but it's driving down the nightly rates and occupancy rates because there's so much inventory, there's so much supply.
That's right.
So do you feel like that same thing is gonna happen on pad split?
I'm gonna let's allow each other to give each other's answers because I know we might have different.
Don't look at each other when you say
that.
that.
No. So the difference with the short-term rental space and co-living is that we are really providing a solution for a need.
Yeah.
Short-term rental is a lot more of a want.
Yeah.
Right. So the saturation that we can find in affordable housing for people that need it, I don't think we're going to get to that place.
Yeah.
Will there be diversification on the units? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't see us achieving saturation per se.
Yeah.
Right? With Airbnb or short-term rental period, you also have hotels as an option.
Yep.
Co-living, there's just nothing.
Yeah.
You're either government assistance or you're working for a Starbucks.
Yeah.
Right? So I think because of how different we are in that space, I don't see us getting to that place.
Right. So give us an answer,
Yeah,
Ray.
what's your take?
What's your take, bro?
Very similar answer. I mean, when I look at the data, in the jobs that we have in the market, and the amount that you need to make to qualify for an apartment complex, and the amount of searches that we have in our market, Orlando, let's say, last 30 days we've had 18,000 people search for room rentals.
Wow.
We only have somewhere around.
Is that across? Wait.
Orlando.
Is that
Orlando.
that's just in Orlando?
Yeah.
18,000?
18,000.
Wow.
There's live data on the website that tells you how many people searched within the last 30
I
days.
can't see that though. I went under metrics. I wasn't able to see. I could
It's
see the
not
per
on
my
your
listing.
metrics.
But that was for your listing, not
Gotcha.
for.
Gotcha.
There is a spot on the website where you could go ahead and
We'll
search
show
the
you.
market.
So mine was 1,200, by the way. So you have your unique impressions, and then you have your, what's the other one? So unique impressions.
Can't remember.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Can't remember. I know exactly what you're talking
That's
about. You
all
have
right.
two different charts.
So I think the unique impressions are, the cool thing about that is I get to see the insight of how many people are driven to my listing and click on it.
Yep.
And then the other one is they just scrolled by it or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah. So
So the reason why I believe that we won't hit saturation is because the people that, if you think of a hotel and you think of like, which one? The JW Marriott, the thousands of people that work at the JW Marriott.
Yep.
There's a lot of people who, from cleaning service to hospitality to front desk to the golf course, all of those people can't qualify for an apartment. You have to make $30 an hour to qualify for an apartment today in Orlando.
Right.
A studio at $1,800. And so if you have one pad split, one room, six rooms, how many of those people do you need
right.
out of those thousands of employees? And that's just one job site.
Yep.
And as we add Epic, Universal Studios,
right.
and then you start to have the jobs that produces, and the thousands of hotels, and the thousands of retail stores, and the thousands, those are all jobs that can't afford a studio apartment.
Right.
So
Yep.
for pad split, it's going to take a whole lot, and they're not building what they're trying to do today for affordable housing and producing new homes. We can't keep up to that demand, let alone the people that are forgotten about, which are the singles.
Yep. Yep. I remember you saying that the last time we did the walkthrough, you said that typical pad split members have 2 jobs.
They end up having multiple jobs. That's not necessarily the case. So
Right.
you could technically have one job, but you have to have a full-time job.
Well,
Right.
medium income in Orlando is like 32,000 a year,
Yeah.
and 1,800 per studio is 67,000 for the year.
Yeah.
The gap is huge. Like,
Not
where are they
affordable.
going?
Yeah.
Right, and they are taxpayers. They're making an income, but
Yeah.
they have nowhere to go.
I don't think I asked you guys this question. What really fueled you guys? Like, I know you guys from way back in the day at Stonebridge. You guys were doing wholesaling,
That's right.
flipping contracts,
That's
making
right.
money, right? What's your passion behind this co-living and pad split? Why did this business model resonate with you guys?
I mean, I'll say that with my journey, it was mostly right place, right time.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Orianna, she's definitely the one that is
I'm
the
very
vision.
vision oriented. It's a field.
So are you telling me you're the visionary of the relationship and you're the integrator or what?
Actually,
I feel like
visionary integrator, but she does have insight. So I was in between having my own company, wholesale operation, and figuring out what to do. And 2020 was profitable, but it wasn't as many transactions. 2021 rolled along, and I'm like, okay, well, we have a lot of money, or we have a good amount of money. We need to find something to do. She went and found jobs that were for hedge funds.
I came for a hedge fund before Pat.
Really? What hedge fund?
First Key Homes.
First Key Homes?
I was closing 500,
Atlanta.
500 transactions a month
Wow.
as a realtor.
Single family? It's crazy.
But it was a
Sick.
job that was not satisfying.
So she applied to
The
two.
financial returns were beautiful. Like, I was making a really nice
So
monthly paycheck, but
two-
it just didn't feel
There's
good.
2 jobs. There was the hedge fund, and then there's this thing called pad split. And so she brought up pad split and said, hey, I think you should apply. She applied for me, she applied for herself. I was intrigued by the hedge fund because I'm a wholesaler. I know hedge funds.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I want to work for the hedge fund, and she applied for the hedge fund. Ultimately, she got the job at the hedge fund, and I got the job at pad split. The mission vision was Orianna's thing, and
Completely.
the commission was more my thing on the hedge fund side.
Got it.
And so while I'm over here starting up Florida, there's no markets. Jacksonville isn't a thing. Tampa's not a thing. Orlando, none of these markets are a thing. I'm doing that, and Orianna's over here spending $2 billion in money to go ahead and
crazy.
spend for hedge funds.
And
I drove the market up.
And were you guys only buying single family?
Single family.
So it's crazy, like a lot of these hedge funds now have added the asset class of single family. Because before it wasn't a thing for hedge funds to buy single family.
That's right.
Now they're like buying it like hotcakes.
Yep.
Why did they get into buying single family? Why do you feel like the hedge funds got more in buying single family? Because that wasn't a thing. Hedge funds never used to look at single family. It wasn't a thing. They never ever looked at it. It was all bigger.
They saw that the money was there because
Yeah.
families are investing in that, and they
Yeah.
wanted to have a piece of that pie as well.
Yep.
You know, so I think the thing that drives me the most here is definitely it's a win-win situation.
Yep.
It's a do good, but also feel good. Because yes, you are increasing your returns as an investor, which we actively do, but understanding that you're actually doing a positive impact in the communities.
Yep.
So it is that. for
Yeah,
sure.
and I agree because for me, I don't know if you remember, Ray, the reason why I resonated so much with pad split was obviously, yeah, I get a better return. That's cool and all, but I had been on the flip side of renting a bedroom at $400 a month.
Me too.
Right? I rented a bedroom at $400 a month, having roommates for years. So I know what it feels like to live in a home, a co-living space, with other people who are either messy or clean or loud or quiet. I know what it feels like to be in that environment. And for me, as an investor, to be able to give that back,
That's right.
that's awesome.
100%.
You know?
I went through the same experience as you in college. My parents were back home, and I'm in Colombia, so it was just me by myself.
That's right. You're Colombian, you're Dominican.
Yep.
He's from New York, really. He's not
Wow.
Dominican.
Take it away from me.
I'm kidding.
Damn. No
So-
wonder why he likes all that coffee, man. Those guys are real fast paced over there. They're like, wham, 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 wham.
Need a refill.
So me being here by myself as like first degree immigrant, it was like I had to do those things.
Yep.
Right? I had to rent that room. I had to like climb the ladder slowly but
Yep.
surely so I can be here today. But I
Yep.
love giving back because
Yeah.
I was there before.
Yeah. What part of Colombia, by the way?
Bogota.
Oh, Bogota. I've been to Bogota.
You like
Parque
it?
93,
Look at
La
you.
Zona
Oh,
Rosa.
Damn.
I
know more about
I'm
Bogota than
serious.
me.
La
That's
Maserati.
really cool.
I've been to Bogota.
Wow.
I was there for Christmas one year.
I love that.
Was it good for Christmas? Festive?
Yeah, it was pretty festive. I went with Andres, which you guys
Okay,
know,
of course.
and his family lives in Bogota. He's from Bogota, and so they were kind of just showing me around stuff like
That's
that.
cool.
They were doing the family thing at one point, and I escaped for like 3 days by myself.
You're like, thank you.
So I
Brian.
was literally
I gotta explore.
hanging out in Bogota by myself,
That's awesome.
pretty much.
That's pretty
That's how
awesome.
you'd learn.
And they were like, "Hey, man, be real safe around here. Be careful."
It's
So
okay. It's not.
I had no problems, to be honest with you. So
Save for the New York.
yeah. So, but did you ever do a bedroom rental ever in your life?
Never.
Never. Wow.
So, like,
He's privileged.
My
He's privileged.
the best thing, like what I kind of get out of it at the end of the day, obviously, is providing affordable housing. But in wholesaling properties, we're selling flips.
Yeah.
Mostly flips. Everybody wanted to sell a flip. Nobody wanted to sell a rental.
Yeah.
Although we all know that rental buyers are the best buyers to have.
Yep.
But with that being said, when you're selling a flip, you're selling at a higher price. When you're selling a short-term rental, you're taking away a property from the community because
Yep.
that's no longer going to someone that's going to live in the community. So at the end of the day, doing a pad split, if you do a 7-bedroom, then you're providing 7 rooms to people in that community.
Right.
So it's kind of a nice pendulum swing on the other direction,
Yep.
Right.
where you sell a lot of transactions in Central Florida,
Yep.
and you kind of feel a little funny about it. And now, okay, now I'm doing something that is mission oriented.
Yep.
So
So for me coming from the short-term rental arena, and I'm still in the arena, but I always think like regulations and stuff like that. Like, how have these cities and counties adapted to you guys coming in and making this a thing? Have you guys had any issues with code enforcement? Have you seen a certain county or city saying, you know what, we don't like it? Or are you seeing like these commissioners like giving you guys like kudos, like, hey, we need this in our city. This is a problem.
Right.
Like there is homeless people now becoming homeless because affordability.
I can talk on that. So when I first got hired, one of the first few events that we went to was talk to the board of Barto.
Yep.
And in Barto, they were talking about affordable housing, people staying in hotels, family mostly staying in motels.
Yeah.
There's not enough homes.
Yep.
But in that meeting, and the meeting, 6 different people, 6 different departments, none of them can agree on anything. You'll have zoning, you'll have construction, you'll have a few other type of diplomats that they all can't agree on anything.
Right.
And so nothing gets done. But they understand that pad split's here, and they understand that pad split could be a solution, but we have to kind of fall in line on what makes sense for that particular city itself.
Yep.
other places, so Houston, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we got it to a point where you have to register your property as a pad split, but it's fine. And it's in certain areas.
Is
in
it a
Houston.
permit that they have to go through, a permit process?
Correct.
Okay.
And so we have other places though, like Morrow, Georgia, where they aggressively went after a pad split and shut it down illegally, and
Crazy.
then pad split then has to intervene, and you could search that if you'd like. I
Yeah.
believe that they did it improperly. Pad split is suing, or homeowner of the property is suing for illegal evictions and overstepping. And it's something that looks positive for pad split. And then you have places like Denver, Colorado that within their legislation have stated that pad split is a solution that you could utilize in Denver as like room rentals.
I know
Wow.
our CFO, or no, our CEO has spoken with the mayor in Atlanta, and they've had very positive conversations, moving the needle.
Because
towards
Atlanta's one of the first hubs. of
That's
you-
right.
Yep, it's the
Atlanta.
first one. So they've been around for a while. So in that city with over 5,000 units, they're more well known. You go down the street with a pad split t-shirt and people recognize pad split.
Right.
That's right.
I know that, obviously in Florida it's newer. It is the second largest market, but it's a matter of having good relations with city members, city council members, not disrupting too aggressively
Yeah.
and pissing people off.
So what about our local market? Our local market, we have obviously a huge following. You guys got a huge following. I have a huge following. How's our local market? How's Buddy Dyer? How are they? Have you guys have you heard any talk about them speaking about this model?
No.
Because I'm going to call these guys. When I have code enforcement come after me, I'm calling these guys. I got their number. I am going to call them and say, yo,
So you're telling me that I need to remove these 5 people that
Yeah.
I'm providing housing for, and you're
Yeah.
going to leave them in the street.
Yeah, exactly.
So the way, and again, I want to speak for pad split legal specifically, but I know that they've talked on plans, different segments on how they approach a city.
Yep.
And one of them is going into a city, providing pad splits, usually under the radar, and building out that market. At some point, there's going to be a need for regulation. There's going to be kind of a button of heads.
Right.
City's going to go, are you short-term rentals? We don't know what you are.
Yeah.
What do you fall
Identify
under?
yourself. Yeah.
Correct.
You're an alien.
And then it's integration, and integration usually through court proceedings or through acceptance
That's right.
or just communication.
Yep.
And then it's widespread.
As we grow, it's going to be
Adoption.
inevitable
Yep.
of our presence,
Yep.
but also we're a solution. So do they want to fight a solution?
Yep.
It would be not so smart, right? So they're going to probably regulate it, but welcome
Yeah,
it.
because I know, I don't know how much you guys know about the Orange County ordinance, but on the Orange County ordinance is 6-month minimum lease agreement. You can't have anything less than that. They want long term. With me working with PadSplit, I've now signed a 12-month lease agreement.
Yep.
The people who book their rooms are now members of their LLC.
Yep.
So everything is legitimate.
Yep.
I don't have to worry. I can say, hey, look, code enforcement officer, here's my lease agreement with PadSplit, and now they can take it either at face value and say, hey, we're gonna write away this violation or this call that we got in, because it's just neighbor calling, neighbor that either
Usually.
doesn't like the traffic, thinks that you're an Airbnb, and they're calling a code enforcement officer. The code enforcement officer's driving down there, and what I see happening is code enforcement officers are going to start getting a lot of calls from people who aren't Airbnbs,
Yep.
and then now they're going to start hearing this word pad split. Oh, pad split, pad split. They're going to be reporting that in
Yep.
their system, and now they're going to have meetings like, hey, because I already know the supervisor of Orange County of code enforcement, and I know the code enforcement officer for my particular neighborhood.
Got
Like
it.
I've worked with these guys before, right?
I like that.
And so I have their numbers, and I already know that they have weekly meetings, and they're going to say, oh, okay, well, we're starting to see this pad split thing come up a lot. Okay, now we're going to bring this into account. So now it becomes a little bit political, and so it starts going up the food chain,
Yep.
That's right.
and that's how it all unfolds, right? And so me as a short-term rental guy, and obviously for scalability, I want a business model that's scalable.
That's right.
I want to know that if I'm investing into more affordable housing, I can scale my business, right, with pad split, obviously. And so obviously that's always a concern of mine. I always want to look at that. This is important for me to know, right? And for everybody to know, because I want to do things legitimately, not have any issues. And so when you said the permit thing about earlier, I have properties where I have to go through the permit process annually. They just it's more of a money thing where
Yep.
either some counties or cities
They
will
just want to make their money.
right. Some counties or cities will just renew it, or some counties and cities want to actually walk through once a year with a code enforcement officer, and they want to make sure that it's either a fire marshal that will come, and they make sure that the property is within standards to code, right? There's 2 points of egress, which you have to have. And
Square footage,
yeah.
yada, yada.
So it's funny. So it's either every county and city is different. Some I'll have where there's like, okay, just pay $150 renewal fee every year, and the other ones are like, hey, you have to have 1 year inspection. So I'm curious to see how it unfolds here in our local market and what the protocol is. But I guarantee it'll be the same thing. I bet it'll be like, hey, either
Dude, it's
renew.
happening in Jacksonville. Like you just literally said the story exactly how it is in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Oh, so I have a property in Jacksonville that I'm buying right now, subject to
Yep.
Nice.
200 or
Love that.
2.75 interest rate.
Beautiful.
Underlying loan of $268,000. I'm buying this creatively, and the only way, like for me as an investor, I continue to scale my portfolio is buying creatively, because you can't buy right now with the debt service and survive. It's too expensive.
Right.
So I've been buying creatively for the last 2 years,
Right.
and so this property in Jacksonville, I sent it to you the other day. I don't know how much you looked in depth, but you said you have some properties in the area.
Yep.
What's up?
So
110 32210.
yeah. So I'm in the county, I believe, not in the city limits.
Yeah, you're in county.
I'm in the county, but not like that. Because you have the county and then you have the city limits.
Yep.
Right.
You're not in city limits.
Yeah, so-
Springfield would have been city limits.
That's what I'm saying. So I would have to go under. What people don't understand is when you're in the city limits, you have to follow the city ordinances. When you're in the county, they have a whole set of ordinances.
Right.
Also, when you're dealing with them, you have to call the county zoning enforcement. Same thing with the city. Like if I call the city,
Different office.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole different office. So with Jacksonville, let's talk about that a little bit. This property I'm picking up, I'm in the county. Do I have to register that property?
No, I don't know another county where you have to register your property as a pad split.
Oh, it's just
for
the
it
city
to-
of Jacksonville?
It's Houston.
Oh, okay.
It was
okay.
Houston.
Not
No,
Jackson.
that story that you were talking about, how the city now knows more and says, hey, it's pad split. Hey, they're around. We know they exist.
This is foreign to us. Like, what
Yeah.
is this? Yeah.
That's the current stage of
In
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
It's
Yeah.
not quite the scenario in Orlando, definitely not, and it's
Jacksonville.
not in Tampa.
Jacksonville has grown at such a huge pace
Yeah.
that we've achieved that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now code enforcement is like, oh,
Yeah.
this word keeps coming up. What
Yeah.
is this?
I feel like the rooms there are really cheap too when I've been looking.
Yeah, it is a more of affordable city than Orlando and Tampa.
Yeah.
So you're going to price match that affordability to the city.
It's skewed a little bit. There's insight that like you just don't get by the numbers. So if you just look at numbers, then a little deceiving if you don't know the story behind it.
Yeah.
And so one of the largest investors that are in that city owns hundreds of properties on his account. He affects what the average rate is. He affects what the occupancy is.
Oh
And
wow! So he's got a hold in that market.
Yeah.
Until I come in.
Of course. So he.
Right, I'm already sending Ray my second property, and he's just like,
It's
"Man,
been-
Javier's taking this seriously."
It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks, yeah.
So
Dude, I can keep buying all day, but you know,
we got a JV.
yeah, dude, of course, 100%.
Got a JV.
We're
Yeah.
buying creative financing next year for sure. That's our goal.
Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. By the way,
Yeah.
seriously,
We'll definitely bug you.
use me as a resource.
Thank you.
A lot of people hit me up, yo, how do I structure this, or how do I do that, stuff like that. So, but what do you think? I don't know. Again, I don't know how much you looked in that property. What do you think about that property? By the way, I walked it. I'm not making a 6-bedroom. I'm making a 7-bedroom.
So
Okay.
to get an area like it's
Lucky number.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
it is a good number. So to get if it works for a pad split or not, it's not so much the house because the house then it's just a matter of numbers. That's the numbers of it.
Right.
The area dictates a lot. So you're in 32210.
Yep.
So you're southwest. You're southwest Jacksonville. You are closer to the naval base. You're closer
Yes,
to
the
Target,
hospital. Yep.
hospitals, Walmart,
The naval
Target.
hospital too. There's a naval hospital.
So because of that, you have a lot of different job sites, but you're not restricted by like just fast food chains around
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And there's spots in Jacksonville where it's just fast food chains and local grocery stores. And because of that, you have now a plethora, a spectrum of people that you can pull from as members.
Yep.
Now, are the rates there 175 on average? Sure.
Yeah.
Could it peak higher? For sure. But for our properties, our lower range is 170, 175, but our averages for our personal properties would be somewhere around the $200 range.
We
200.
actually have a property in that zip code.
You do?
Yep,
Janice, like
32210.
personally in our portfolio, we
Don't
have
give our addresses, babe.
I didn't do. No.
Yeah.
I just said the street name.
It's a small street.
Oh my
We don't
God.
want the city to know.
We have a property in that zip code, and it does very well.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a smaller home. It's probably our smallest unit count home.
How
but
many units is in there?
That one's 5.
5 units.
We wanted to make it 6. 6, 7, and 8 is like our personal sweet spot for
Yeah.
pad split,
Yeah.
right? It didn't work. The layout didn't work for a 6, but
Yeah.
it's beautiful as a 5. It's
Yeah.
100% occupied at all the time.
So it's interesting. I actually want to go a little bit more in depth in the bed count. I can't make the math work anything less than like a 6 bedroom.
Depends on the acquisition.
Yeah, it depends on your debt service ultimately, obviously, right?
That's right.
But even me buying creatively, I'll make an example. That deal that I'm buying right now, I hit up Ray the other day and he's like, dude, you're spot on with your numbers. I sent him all my numbers. I said, is this realistic? What do you think? Because I wanted his eyeballs on it. I said, what I did was, the way I came up with my numbers is, obviously I know my PITI, my debt service, taking over a loan, 268,000 VA, 2.7 interest rate. The debt service on that's about just under $2,000 a month. It's 19 and change, right? So what I did was I went on Pad Split and I took in that zip code and the neighboring zip code, I took the nicest pad splits that look like they're professional hosts. Because on Pad Split, you're gonna have people who just, okay, let me just try this out. I'm not really that professional. This is like a guinea pig property, not taking it serious. Same thing like on Airbnb, right? And then you're gonna have the person who, like we take it
Goes
serious.
all the way out.
We wanna go all the way. We wanna make it like nice. We wanna make sure that it showcases well, professional pictures. Like the people who don't invest into professional photography,
That's right.
those are the people who aren't serious about this business.
That's how you could tell the difference in the quality of the property. Look at the picture quality
Right.
and the room quality, and then look at the price.
Yeah, so that's what I did. So I went to the ones, I found 5 professionals that I thought were professionals. And this is the way I ran my comps. I took 5, and then I just took the average. I added up
Nice.
all the numbers
Good.
of the room, and I divided by 5.
Nice.
That gave me an average of like 175, 180 a night. I always want to run my numbers worst case scenario than best case scenario, right? I want my worst case.
course.
And so I came up with the layout because there was a floor plan online already of that property. I haven't walked it yet. I finally have walked the property. I was like, okay, well, I can actually make it instead of a 6, I can make it a 7 bedroom. You think that's?
The ratio
So
is perfect.
that's
Yeah.
fine. Okay, good. Ratio's perfect because you want one bathroom
1.
for every four
That's right.
bedrooms. So anyway, so now I can make an extra, $800 a month potentially on that 7th bedroom. And that's how I ran my numbers as far as like getting data from your website
Yep.
and extracting it. Because it's funny because on Airbnb there's data aggregator websites like
right.
AirDNA, Data Rabu. You have all these data aggregator websites that sell data.
Yep.
And I'm sure maybe one thing that will probably happen with
As we
Passport
grow,
one.
that
sure.
will happen.
Right,
And
so, but-
AirDNA didn't exist
Right.
7 years
exactly.
ago either.
So being that Pad Split is so new, I'm now hacking the system by, this is the way I'm running my comparables.
Yep.
So for you guys who want to run comparables on Pad Split, before you get in it, run your comparables by taking 5 properties in that same zip code that are professional hosts, that have professional pictures, that have nice property that's nice furnished, and just divide by 5.
And a caveat, the ones that you see are the ones that are still available. The ones
Yes.
you don't see
Yeah.
are the ones that are
Fully
rented.
rented.
But if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going to come out to the market
Yep.
and that's what's around you,
Yep.
then you want to make sure you're at least around the range of that.
So also, Pad Split also lists the lowest room in that home. Lowest
To
price
attract
per room.
people.
So again, I'm going to a conservative standpoint and I want to run my numbers conservatively.
right.
So I know those 5 properties that I picked are all 100% the lowest marked bedroom in that home.
Yep.
So that's another reason why I was like, okay, this is a no-brainer for me to do it this way.
And you can see the features of the rooms and say, okay, well, this person's only providing a desk in their rooms.
Yeah.
Let me go pivot and do a little better than that to go ahead and attract more members to my house.
Well,
Yeah.
I absolutely love that you, coming from the short-term rental space, you can bring so much of that experience,
Oh yeah,
turn it and add
Yeah.
it into Pad Split,
Yeah.
and just run with it.
yep, that's what I'm doing.
And I love that. So it's like if you were here, you got to go here,
Yep.
not all the way down, but it's like that sweet
Yep.
mix is what you're bringing into your property that's
Yeah.
going to differentiate you from all the other listings that are there.
Yep.
And there's a learning curve. So you're an investor. You've done short-term rentals.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to operate. Even though Pad Split's given account executives to guide you through the process, a lot of the people aren't investors themselves.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that they're being taught
Yeah.
are textbook items that aren't operational.
Yeah.
And so at that point, then, because you're an operator and because you're applying the stuff that you're learning, you have a hedge against
Yeah.
people that are just
You
getting
are
into
ahead
it.
of it.
Yeah. I'm gonna blow you guys' mind. I don't know if you guys know, I'm creating a pad split course. It's about
We already have some people working on that, and someone has already sold their first course.
That's okay. I'm gonna outsell them.
I think yours is probably better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
I'm gonna
it.
outsell them. So for you viewers, it's a lot of information on going from how to acquire a property, what furnishings to buy, what areas should you buy in. Like, there's a lot of things to know. And what I have done, it's already 60% built. My course is. I don't know if you guys know, I also have an Airbnb course as well.
Nice.
So what I've done is I've consolidated everything, I packaged it together, and I'm gonna be having it available for you guys. So don't forget, click the link below in the description so you guys can easily sign up to Pad Split and see the mini course that I have created for Pad Split. Because what I've noticed is, you guys are growing so rapidly that people in other markets where Pad, because I've talked to other people, like for instance, the individual I referred you guys to recently, they don't have any support in their market. And what I've noticed is you guys are getting bombarded with questions and you guys don't have the bandwidth to be able to help everybody out. So that's why I've packaged this together to be able to help and utilize what I've learned going through a Pad Split, onboarding to acquisition, to the new acquisition that I just did, and package this together so now people can have information readily available for them.
Absolutely.
And you guys, like I said, you guys are growing so fast, it's like you can only answer so many questions.
Absolutely.
When Dom and them and Gary in Texas, they don't have you guys over there.
Right.
And so their experience wasn't the best, but you guys are just growing so big. And that's very common in companies when they grow so rapidly. They're just trying to put the right pieces in place.
Yeah, we are in exponential growth phase right now, which is literally a rocket ship all the way up. That's how we are
Yeah.
in our stage at Pad Split. Fortunately, Ray and I manage all of Florida, so we're able to travel between those 4 major markets:
Yep.
Miami, Tampa, Orlando,
We drive a
Jacksonville.
lot.
We're always driving, managing so many of our different hosts, and we also operate nationwide. So even if you're not in Orlando, Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville, we can operate and help you in other cities.
Yeah. Yeah, those people, the individuals I refer you to, and I'm going to keep sending you guys referrals.
Appreciate
But
it.
make sure they use my referral link. No,
Of
I'm just
course,
kidding.
no.
I'm just
Use
joking.
your referral link.
No, I'm just
Gotta
kidding.
know where it came from.
But I just thought, like, Ray, I like how you came to my property, you walked through on the I had
That
the
was
vision.
VIP treatment, of course.
Yes, exactly. He gave me the VIP treatment. It's not just me,
Don't
guys.
send me to 100 homes.
Yeah. He's like, man, Javi's going to bombard me. Well, my plan is to bombard you because,
100%.
one, I want you guys obviously to grow within the company, right? I want to be able to showcase you guys. I want people to know who you guys are, what your names are. Because I'm talking to people. I have a lot of people right now reaching out to me. I'm not even a part of Pad Split. I'm just an investor. Obviously, I'm a host now, and I am technically part of Pad Split, but I'm having people reach out to me with all types of questions. I don't know if you saw, I posted on my video, one guy was asking me about the private bathroom, right? I was able to utilize that and help them,
Yeah, you had an
answer
answer.
that. Because a lot of people think like, oh, every single bedroom, what I'm starting to see with people, questions are, every single bedroom needs a bathroom. People think that.
And the car.
I'm like, whoa, and and the car thing. And so I'm able to answer that, you guys are able to answer that, and it's just, we're giving more things at people's reach,
Right.
to be able to, more resources at people's reach. So
That was the logic of the Facebook group, or initially it's, hey, we're repeating the same information all over the place. And it's hard to talk one-on-one with different hosts from different markets.
Yep.
And something that works very well in one market,
Yep.
it's hard to get that information to another person.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, let's throw everyone inside of a group and go ahead and have them communicate with each other. The education piece is fantastic because then now you can share an update, solid information, and kind of go up from there. Any
Yep.
new changes happen, here's an update, and let me amend this. So
Yeah.
I love that you do
And
that.
we tend to also do events, educational events,
Yep.
at least once a quarter, like both of us, where we bring new investors that are
Yep.
hesitant or have all those questions, and we'll be there to also help. But
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. And I just look at it as ways like, I want to be able to give back
Yeah.
for people who are skeptical. They can say, you know what? I'm going to get this course. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go through everything A to Z. I might get to the end of it and say, you know what? It's not for me.
That's right.
versus spending all this money buying the property, furnishing it, and getting into it and getting their feet wet and be like, whoa, what did I just get myself into?
Yep.
Like, you know, the cool thing about it is you get an insight of the business without actually having to do anything, you know? And so for me, when I was going through everything, you know, my digital media guy, he tells me like, document, right? Don't create. That's everything we do. Like we document, we don't create. Everything we're doing, we're documenting. We're doing it anyways, you might as well document it.
That's right.
Everybody thinks like, oh, you have to have the perfect video. Oh, you have to have this look like this. Like, no, you don't need that. And that's where a lot of people get, you know, caught up on social media and posting and stuff like that. You see a lot of the videos that I'm posting now, like the very first few, like the subtitles are going off the thing. I don't care. We knew that was happening, but we already created that. We're gonna go ahead and utilize that content anyways. Do you care? Do you think I care if people like it or not? Like, it's okay.
No, that's
like
how you
it
get better, though. That's how you get sharper and
exactly.
And you get nuggets from them too.
As you grow, you have no idea. Those little clips that I've been posting, it's helped so many people out.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, I didn't realize I could do this. Or I didn't know I could do this. Or I didn't know I could put a bedroom there. Or, oh, I didn't know what egress was. Like, we're actually getting a lot of eyeballs on those videos. Some of them have 800, 1,500 views. Like, it's helping a lot of people out. I'm having a lot of people reach out, and that's the whole point of this.
That's right.
So, so you talked about next year you want to start getting into creative finance. So you guys are at 45 doors?
47 doors.
Why you got to be so big time, man? 47.
Like, sorry,
is that through
lucky number? Told you.
Orlando? Yeah, lucky number. Is that through Orlando, Jacksonville, and Tampa?
That's it? No, it's
Only
those two.
Orlando and Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. So now I'm about to come in.
We need someone to crush in Orlando.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna crush it in Orlando.
I mean, we are, but like, we need more people to crush in Orlando. Because I mean, it's a fantastic market. The amount of jobs here are ridiculous.
Yep.
The affordability's not there, and then we just keep building outward. I mean, crap. I just saw like an article that said, "Is Central Florida and Tampa going to be the next mega city like Miami that blends?" Because we're building out towards each other, and it's like we need more properties out here. We need more.
So my Orlando and Tampa are the two major cities in our platform period that have the biggest gap between people that are looking for room rentals and not finding them.
Yeah.
So those two cities are the huge potentials
Yep.
for growth within
Yep.
Patswood. Every city is, but the biggest gap in those two cities is just huge. It's a huge opportunity zone.
Yeah. So I want to touch on this, and I'm not sure if you guys can speak on this yet. So you guys are doing a different business model with the host payouts.
Yep.
Before it was about 15%. What has changed? Are you guys not gonna be able to talk about that?
No, do you or do you want me? I mean, I'll briefly talk about it. It's at this current stage.
It's so new, also that we're just
It's so new. That's why I said I don't know if you guys can talk about it.
I'll talk. I'll take the fall a second
The
because
CEO's gonna be calling you, Ray. You can't be saying that.
I'll take the fall on this one. So currently, at the current stage that we're in, the CEO's fielding town halls where he's answering questions because he's been doing research with a group internally that has done the research for the last few years, and so a lot of the information that they provide, the research, is stuff that any account executive in the team could not really speak on because it's just...
This is like a week old. This is
I
how
know.
new it is.
I got an email and I looked at it. I was like, I gotta call Ray up.
What is this?
I text Ray. Ray's like, yeah, I'm not responding to him. I was like, well, guess what? You're about to be on my podcast, and you're gonna answer this in front of my live audience.
So basically,
Putting us in the spot.
So basically, my interpretation of it is that we're valuing more tenure and experience of the members that are inside the house.
That's right.
And so what we're doing is, the longer you keep someone in your property, the more profitable your house is.
Right.
We are working on reducing down the fee from 12% to 8%.
Okay.
We are looking to, as a next step, also remove the 2.75% processing fee and place it on the member half, so that the host doesn't have to pay for that. And so what PadSplit had to look at as we're growing and scaling as a company is, we need to be able to pay for marketing. We're needing to grow.
It costs money to operate, right?
Correct.
We're running a business.
And currently right now...
not a nonprofit.
Exactly.
Currently right now is that you don't value members if it's just coming to you. And so as Pad Split fills your house up, you might turn and burn your members.
Yeah.
Not valuing, obviously, that person that just moved in. And so we want to change our focus and pivot towards you wanting to retain that person and then keep them for as long as possible.
Let me hold you right there. What did I tell you earlier?
You want them to stay there long term?
I have that mindset. I want, because if you're constantly having people move out.
Telling you at the property without you knowing it, I'm like, you're going to want to value tenure moving forward, and what you're saying is absolutely right.
Ultimately, it's an advantage for the host.
Yeah.
Less turnover. It's just
less cleaning
better.
duties.
It's better money. It's more money.
Does it come out like, so I know you said they're lowering it to about 8%, and you're trying to put that 2.75% on the member, right?
Right.
Correct. There's a
what's going to be like
there. It's not just 8%. Technically, it's going to be the first 10 days of a new member
I
moving
read
in.
that. Yeah.
So Pad Split keeps that portion of it
Wait, per room?
per room.
Per member.
So
Per
if
member.
you logically think it, let me step back. Pad Split's not going to change your fee structure in the middle of your lease. If you have a lease with Pad Split and it ends in a year from now,
Oh, so I'll still be on the about
Correct.
15%.
So
Correct.
even with the jacks, let's say you on board early next year, you're still going to keep.
I'll
the
be within the
current-
15% bracket.
correct.
Got it.
So you have time to sit down and look at it and go, does this mathematically look
Makes
good?
sense.
What pivots are they making? What adjustments are they making?
And how am I going to make adjustments as a host as well?
Correct.
Gotcha.
And you can buy down the rate as well. So if you notice that in your property, that guy who just moved into your property, let's say that he's still there next year, and you're like, this guy tends to be here for like 3 years. Fantastic. I want to take advantage of this 8%. Let me buy this down, and they give you the option to go ahead and do 10 days worth of income, and then buy his rate down at 8%. But you're not forced, as long as that person's living there, and let's say they're there for 5 years, even though we've changed models as a company, you're still the 12% until you do the buy down.
Yeah. So for the new business model, so I understand correctly. So let's say I have 5 bedrooms and each one is 100% occupied. You guys would take the first 10
days of occupancy.
occupancy fees,
Yep.
right? So if they're there for 10 weeks, you guys are going to get the first 10 weeks of pay.
10
Correct.
days. 10 days.
10 days.
Correct.
10 days of pay. So, and then there's a fee in addition to that.
And then
that would
8%.
be 8%.
the 8% fee.
Of monthly income.
What does the total come to? Have you looked at it or no? Have you?
No, that's
So right now the total's roughly about 15%. What does the total come to?
Yeah, we haven't looked at it.
Because I looked at, so based on my analysis, I'm paying Pad Split on these properties that the one I just launched, they're going to be about 800 to almost $1,000 a month that I'm paying them, right?
Yep.
And so obviously I have to incorporate that into my operating expenses,
course.
plus power, plus cable or internet, not cable. I don't do utilities, lawn care. You know, it adds up really quickly.
Yep.
And that's why I said, like, if you're using a bank in today's market, there's no way that you can scale this, because there's just so many operating expenses. You're left with nothing.
Right.
So you have to lock up deals creatively.
Right.
And if you're not locking them up creatively, I don't know how you're making money, right? You're just doing it just to do it. And so, just like Pad Split, I'm not running a nonprofit, but at the same time, I do want to be able to help, the community have affordable housing.
Correct.
So the 15%, I'm, about 15%,
Yep.
approximately, I'm 100% comfortable with, and it made sense for me.
Yep.
So when I'm getting this one done, because I remember you referred me to the guy who's doing property management, I wasn't really sure how I can plug him in just yet.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to kind of get the property 100% occupied.
I'm with you.
I understand how to manage people already, and I can get one of my VAs to work within,
That's right.
there a lot cheaper, because at that point it's just kind of communication,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, that might be a business that you grow out for yourself at the end of the day.
Exactly. So it might be a potential business, because on the
Right.
short-term rental side, obviously I do co-hosting as well, and I have a co-hosting management businesses there. So I could grow that. I've already thought of that. I'm
I know.
Mr. Entrepreneur, But it's interesting. So I'll have to run the numbers, going back to the fee structure, I'll have to run the numbers and see what it looks like. Have you guys ran the numbers on yours or no?
On
No, we
ours,
haven't.
no.
Is it just so new we don't know?
It's new that they're doing one-on-one consultations on your portfolio, and it usually you have to look at something that's been on the platform for a year.
Got it.
To really
You
analyze
need data.
it well.
You need data.
And
Correct.
and the other part is that since the value is in keeping the people longer, if you are a host that is always having a room change because your property's not, obviously up to par,
Set up for
then
tenure.
it's not going to be as profitable for you because you're always doing 10 days.
Yeah.
But if you're retaining people for an extended period of time because it's a nice setting and obviously area and a bunch of other factors, then you only pay the 10 days and then it's 8% the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I think this is just
So you're
gonna,
saving
you
significant.
are. And this is going to weave out the
The
hosts
people
that
aren't
are
serious.
the hosts that are just there to put
I like
any
that.
bed.
I like that.
any-
Good point.
And I think this is going to just bring a different level of hosting
Yep.
and better member experience,
Yep.
which improves the product significantly
Yep.
as well.
And at the end of the day, going to the flip side of what I talked about like city ordinances and like neighbors, if neighbors see consistency in the property,
Right.
it's going to give them a different outlook.
That's complete.
Like we
That's
have a
what
Bob,
they're-
we got a Joe, we got a Susie, we got a Tom, and we got a Jerry at this property. They've been living there for
And
8,
it's
9
stable.
months.
Yep.
We can see this isn't transient housing.
Right.
So it also gives them a different outlook on the property if you have
Correct.
higher retention. I want my neighbors to know that I have all these people living here for the last 8, 9 months.
Yep.
Right? That this is not a transient housing, because I think that's where people get disrupted a lot more is like, hey, I've been living in this neighborhood for 15, 20 years. It's typically you have a Karen and they're like, why has that house got so much activity?
Mm-hmm.
Versus, no, this house doesn't have a lot of activity. They've all been living there for a long time.
Yep. That's exactly what.
So I like that. I like
It's
that.
for regulation, it's
Yeah.
for community,
Yeah.
it's for tenure and also obvious profit on
Yeah.
both sides. And it's so that pad split continue to grow and be able to open more markets
Correct.
and get ready for the next stage of growth that we're going.
Yeah.
So,
So for people who don't realize where they can buy a property, where do you guys recommend, like, hey, where would I launch a pad split?
oh, baby.
Orlando. Let's talk about Orlando.
Orlando,
right?
yeah.
I'm going to focus on those high density population areas.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially, I will target the Hispanic community. So I'm going to potentially look at Cimarron. I'm going to look at Lake Underhill.
Got it.
I'm going to look at closer to UCF,
Yep.
Valencia, Full Sail,
Maitland.
Maitland. Right. All those major.
Woodland Park?
I mean, it depends on where in Winter Park.
Passing a 434
I
Winter
know.
Park,
Yeah.
right?
I'm on the nice side of Winter Park.
You can't do Park Ave.
But you can.
Or near Park Ave.
Yeah.
But you can
Not
do
Fairbanks.
before you get
No, yeah,
to.
I know. Yeah, you're talking about when you're almost getting into like 32820, I believe.
Yeah.
You're right there, just north of Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yes. Closer to the hospital.
Because
right?
you don't want the neighborhood to be too pretty, but you also don't want it to be too slummy.
Yeah, like East End Market's fine. Baldwin Park's not fine.
No.
Cimarron on the other side is fine. And
Right.
so you're adjacent to those nice areas that you are providing affordable housing, but maybe they can't afford Baldwin
Right.
Park, but they work at the Publix
Like,
at Baldwin
we
Park.
wouldn't go to Celebration, but we would go to Kissimmee,
Yeah.
right? And then we have all those jobs in Disney. Disney's not just the parks, it's the hotels, it's the restaurants, it's like so massive that all those people that through short-term rental were displaced as well because they became all these short-term rental spaces. Now, okay, let's find a place for them to live as well.
Yep.
So
Yep.
all those areas would
Yep.
just be phenomenal areas for you to invest in a good patch.
So I did a breakdown of my core showing like these are major metro areas where Pad Split is running their marketing dollars.
Yep.
Not only that, the population growth is exponential. Not only that, the also basic job growth. What is fueling these rooms are basic job growth. The people working at the Amazon, the people working at the Walmarts, the
That's
people
right.
working at the Publixes, the people who are having struggles making ends meet.
Yep.
I talk about major metro areas. If you're getting properties sent to you and they're not in a major metro area, or they're in the boonies, or they're in a cow town, like don't
go.
consider it.
No
Wipe
go.
it off your list. Create a buy box. Don't go outside your buy box. That's going to help you eliminate all the noise. There's a lot of noise. We all know.
And no HOAs.
Yeah, no, I don't do HOAs at all. Anything I buy,
Yeah.
I hate HOAs. I
Same.
don't want to follow their bylaws and their covenants and all this blah blah blah.
Same.
You pay more fees when you close. It just, I always look like this, right? Even though that we don't have an HOA, we do have an HOA because we have to deal with code enforcement.
Right,
Yep.
right.
So
right,
code
right.
enforcement is my HOA, right? But I'm prepared to deal with that,
Correct.
right? And I've built a relationship with them, by the way. and they know me. I have their cell phone numbers, like, you know, because I've had issues in the past, and I get in compliance. I'm not trying to be a person where they're writing, you know, putting me in court because I'm not complying with them, which they will do. They're very powerful.
Oh, they will.
They'll put a lien on your property.
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize that. They will summons you to court
100%.
and say, hey, look, we're having a court session because you're not complying.
That's right.
So when I have an issue, and like the property that I just converted, I'm prepared to get, you know, if anything happens, I'm prepared to deal with them. Right?
I do like your house though, for many weird little what reasons. As you were talking about, like the refi on your house, you could refi that house.
Yeah.
Still as a pad split, and the reason why you could is because you still have a living room.
Yeah, so the reason why I haven't refied the property, to be quite frank with you, is because the debt service is so low. So I refied it. So basically the way I look at pieces of real estate, and you're gonna have different opinions from different investors. I'm young, right? I'm 33. Every time I acquire a new piece of real estate, I don't just buy it for cash flow. I buy it for tax incentives. I buy it for leverage. I buy it because it's a money farm. I buy it because of appreciation. There's all these so the way the way I have this deal, I have a lot of options that I can go with on this deal in Jacksonville, the one that I sent you the other day. The entry fee, the initial entry fee on it's going to be about $45,000, right? That's going to be closing costs, cash to seller. I got that brought to me by a wholesaler. That's why it's important to have relationships. You know, obviously all the little other miscellaneous entry costs. But right now I have multiple people that have reached out that have also done business with me, that know I'm reputable, who know, like, and trust me. He say, hey, Javier, I can come in as a PMP, right? I can give you, right now I have a person willing to give me all the capital at 10% long term, simple interest only, secured by the real estate. Or I can bring the PMP in, 50-50 the deal if I want. Or I can buy the deal with all my own capital, which I don't want to do at all. I don't want to use my own money.
Freezes your money.
Yeah, it freezes your money. Plus, it's too much money to have one deal, right? So I have options there. So however I want to take down the deal, I can do that.
Right.
So when I acquire these pieces of real estate, like I was telling you guys before earlier, I look at them as money farms. I'm not sure if you guys look at them like that, or what your outlook is.
Bro,
we
so
got
I'm
a
curious
bird.
to see what your outlook is on real estate and how you view it. Because every time I talk, and I've been around across the country talking to people about real estate, every time I talk to somebody, it's like I get a new tidbit on how their outlook of real estate is, how they view it. Because you might not view it the same way I do, and I don't expect you to.
Right.
But the way I look at it is like every time I acquire a piece of real estate, it's a money farm that gives me a lot of different benefits.
Different outlets, different opportunities.
Different opportity, and it's not even that. It's just an employee that never quits on me, right? That's just how I feel about it.
Make money while you sleep.
Well, what is your lens on real estate? How do you look at it? Do you look at it the same way, or what's your outlook every time you look at a piece
We
of real estate?
definitely love recycling our money.
Yeah.
So we are
So
burring everything.
You like the high leverage?
We technically burr by default. Hard money, rehab the property, kind of modified to be a pad split, refi to DSCR loan. We get the interest rates kind of suck, but then it becomes still a pad split that overproduces more than a regular rental does.
Okay.
With equity building.
Have you guys refied an official pad split yet?
Yeah.
Because I know lenders are still, this is new to lenders.
He's asking like already
Okay.
it being a pad split.
You're right, we haven't.
Okay. So one
You're
of the
right.
big things people don't realize when you're talking to lenders, now they know Airbnb, they know how it works, they'll use AirDNA to get numbers. But now pad split being used because a lot of times lenders don't want to use income
That's right.
that they can't qualify. They don't know if it's true income, it's too new, and I can see already being pad split being so new, a lot of lenders are going to have struggles with the refinance process, or they might just say, hey, you know what, this is like an Airbnb, let me use those numbers. I don't know because I'm not a lender, but I can already see that happening where lenders are just like, okay, this is very new. I know you guys are making $6-7K a month on this property. I can't use that income.
We currently have a lender based out of Jacksonville that is a host and is actually refinancing existing converted pad splits.
Yeah.
Right?
Gotcha.
So there's already lenders that are getting very creative and understanding the potential that there is and working through those products as well.
Yep.
And how does he get it done? Because I know you know this better than
I know he has a private partner. It's not a DSCR loan. It's not income based. It's As long as the property is within, I believe, $10,000 to $15,000 of making adjustments, that
what
it can
it's
be
worth.
converted back into a normal house. They can lend on the property. It's just higher interest rates, and it has to be to an LLC.
Gotcha.
And so it is a 30-year mortgage
Yeah.
that they can go ahead and lend on. And it could
Yeah,
be an
30-year
8
fixed, yeah.
bedroom,
That's
9
what I want.
bedroom, 10 bedroom. They can go ahead and close. So if someone's selling you an already existing pad split, they can close on it with the rooms already in there.
So you guys have scaled your portfolio
Right.
the traditional way,
Burr.
Correct, yeah.
100% Burr.
100%
And we relied on appraisals,
Yep.
refinancing it
100%
out.
Burr. I think when we started doing Burr, we kept hearing that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Nobody does Burr in the
No,
past
no.
5 years. Like, what are
No.
you doing?
A true burr is like a needle in a haystack. A true burr.
And we were able to do 5 burrs out of the 7 properties that we have,
Okay.
right? Because of pad split, allowing us to achieve those higher returns because
Yep.
we saw that there was a bigger opportunity there.
Yep.
And acquiring them through off-market deals, right? Acquiring at 65 cents on a dollar, that was also super essential for us to be able to achieve those numbers.
Yeah.
Well, we put some of our old skills to the test, and we've acquired off the MLS as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Negotiated
no,
them
find
down.
good deals.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this: everything that you guys have acquired now, is it just you two? Are you guys using PMPs? Are you guys using PMLs?
Just us two?
Just you two. So you
currently.
guys have been using your own money.
Currently.
Gotcha.
Next
0%
year-
interest credit cards. or?
Next year is
Rehab goes on the
definitely-
credit card,
Gotcha.
but
Yeah,
then
we-
they pay that back. We pay the credit cards.
Next year we are working towards OPM and tons of JVs as well.
So a lot's changed. So like even the way that like what I used to teach 2 years ago is different than what I teach today. The way we acquired last year, and we only started acquiring last year. Last July was our first acquisition.
Gotcha.
Our last acquisition was in December. Our first pad split onboarding was somewhere in February. Our last one was this past July that we just finished passing. And so even the stuff that I thought was cool then, putting desks in rooms, putting mini fridges in rooms, I'm like, hey, we're ahead of the curve. Then immediately after, a lot of the hosts that we're onboarding and we're teaching and educating, it's, oh, well, they're putting mini fridges too, but now we're putting TVs.
Yeah. I like the TV concept because I feel like it makes somebody more comfortable.
Homey.
The homey. The only reason why I didn't do TVs in this last property, I mean, I have everything else that you just mentioned. I'm just playing with it a little bit because I feel like you're gonna have that asshole member who just blasts the TV all the time. And some of these properties, being that you're putting up walls, I know majority of people aren't putting foam-proof insulation to where
Yep.
it's blocking out noise. If you just put up the regular, 2x4s
Yeah.
with drywall, you're gonna have a lot of complaints. And then what happens is, if the member isn't happy, that can affect your occupancy rate. So you have to think on both, put yourself in their
Both
shoes.
perspectives.
Would you want to sleep in a bedroom that has these thin walls with 2x4s that's just holding up this drywall, and the member is blasting their soap opera at night? You don't want that, right? But as an operator, you're probably not gonna take that extra step and make those walls, soundproof.
I
You
think
see what
there's
I'm
a
saying?
lot
So
of
I didn't
stuff.
do the TV thing.
I think there's a lot of stuff that people kind of forget in the process, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you see the desk,
Yeah.
and then you incorporate it and say, hey, I want to do the desk too, but then when you list the property, you don't put comforters on the bed.
Right.
And then now it looks like a cot. It looks like a jail cell. You're just like, you should have anticipated. I would have
Oh yeah, for staging, yeah.
yeah, for
purposes.
stage. I rather honestly stage better and have less stuff in the room and make it a better looking room so I can rent.
Yeah.
As opposed to stuffing it with a lot of stuff, but not going ahead and finish it. Sticking the landing.
Yeah.
Essentially speaking. So,
Yeah, yeah. So I did the professional photos. I did the floor plan.
Yes.
I didn't do the Matterport thing because photographers are funny. Like Matterport is hosted on a website, and they want to charge you like a $10 a month fee.
Yeah.
And how do I get it?
And then it expires.
Yeah,
and
it
then now you don't
expires.
have
So
it.
Really?
yeah,
Ours I just found it expired on the
yeah,
website.
yeah,
No
expires. So
way.
right now, the photographer I'm working with, he's working on getting it unlimited. Because I told him, I was like, hey, I want this Matterport unlimited. And so what they'll try to do is most photographers will try to charge you like $10 a month, which I don't want to incorporate that in my operating expenses.
I'm about to go buy my own camera
Yeah.
for Matterport.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to pay $10 a month. So
Especially if you're scaling,
yeah.
so rent that out to a friend.
Yeah, so no, I'm excited. I'm gonna let's see what Jacksonville does and Orlando. So now that I'm launched, I got my first member, which is awesome. You said earlier, you mentioned something about it's about 20 days. Obviously, seasonality. It's the end of the year. It's Christmas time.
Yeah.
Man, 18,000 people just in Orlando looking at bedrooms.
I'll show it to you later too.
Yeah.
Damn it.
But
dude.
you were also asking like, what do we? So we bird, and then what are we looking to do?
Yeah.
And to get back to it, it's like we first started buying in Jacksonville because in Jacksonville, as you mentioned, you know what you're kind of doing for properties.
Yeah.
We didn't think appreciation. We thought revenue.
Yep.
It's strictly revenue, and obviously there's some bits of appreciation because it's still one of the hottest markets in the United States. Florida markets tend to have a bubble to it.
Yep.
Appreciation, I mean not appreciation, but interest rates kind of didn't matter to us so much so as long as we stayed within a window.
Yep.
And we're between a 7 to maybe an 8% on our DSCR loans.
Really? Wow.
Again, our last refi might have been March, April, somewhere
Cool.
around
So
there.
you guys are cool with that?
For now, yeah.
I don't.
We're dating the rate, and I'm okay
exactly,
with that.
exactly.
I'm dating the rate,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
am married to the
Right.
property, so I have no problem refinancing in
Right.
a couple years.
Right.
So it's fine.
Right
Or-
now, I don't touch anything above 5 to put things in perspective.
Okay.
Creative.
Yeah, no,
But
exactly.
that's why we need to get into creative.
Yes, that's why it's important.
So then the last two houses were kind of a preview on the direction we were heading into. And so the last two houses we picked up in Orlando. And so our logic buying in Orlando is that I'll say the zip codes 32805 and 32811.
Yeah.
In between, near the Citrus Bowl, in between
Yeah,
downtown.
you're on the west side I-4.
And so the logic is new theme parks, we're in between Universal.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of squeezing into the middle.
Yep.
32805 is growing out because of the new soccer arena, the new entertainment arena that they're building, and so this is long-term appreciation. And also, rates are going to go up next year. My rates this year aren't going to be what the rates are next year, and I'm going to go ahead and charge high.
Yeah.
We just looked at a map recently and like put it into perspective. 4 zip codes is such a big territory of land in Orlando, which is 05, 08, 818, 811.
Yep.
All that west,
Yep.
Pine Hills, like
Yep.
all that. It's so big. It's huge.
Yeah.
Such an opportunity also for
Yep.
investing in those
Yep.
areas because everything else is already overdeveloped,
Yep.
completely structured, completely established.
Yep.
You know.
Do you feel like it's important for people to hone in on specific zip codes? Like for me, this is my analogy. As long as you're within 10 to 15 minutes of a major metro area
Yeah.
with obviously bus stops and grocery stores,
Yeah.
because 40% of members don't have cars. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, 40% of members don't have cars. I feel like as long as you're within a major metro area, do you quite need to hone in on the zip codes? Like I can see where you're
No,
you're
that's
trying to
very
run
micro.
statistics and
Yeah, that's very
But for
small.
me, I just like it's a major metro area.
Yeah.
I'm 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I got bus like that property. What I did was I even take it a step further, and I go in this on the course, the pad split course that I created.
No free content, bro.
Yeah,
Stop throwing it out there.
Yeah, so I actually took it a step further, and what I do is on the course, I break down, I show how I look at the Census Bureau, how I pull up bus stops, right? So Jacksonville bus stops, how I pull them up, what am I looking for, how quick commutes, are they bus stops where do they lead to, right? I'm looking at that. I'm also going in, zooming in on the Google map, talking about different basic jobs in the area. And to comment on what you said earlier, Jacksonville is actually an outstanding, I use also a bestplaces.net, and I use the Census Bureau. So if you go on bestplaces.net, you can see a 5-year average, a 10-year average, and a 1-year average of appreciation. Jacksonville is a great market for appreciation. Don't sleep on Jacksonville. I don't know, because I know you said earlier like it was more of a cash flow play. It's
Immediate
their
cash flow play.
yeah, their appreciation is
yeah.
going to skyrocket.
There's new things that they're doing now
Yeah.
after the fact that it wasn't going into the
Yeah.
decision making.
Yeah.
The riverfront,
Yes,
in between where
correct.
like the Jaguar Stadium is.
Yep.
All that's being redeveloped.
CSX. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
are from there. CSX is out there. A lot of basic, a lot of big distribution hubs are out there now. Jacksonville's exploding up. You know, it's a definitely. And what I like about Jacksonville versus Orlando, you can get properties over there really cheap.
Yep.
Like this property I'm buying for $300,000. I couldn't get that here in Orlando. You know.
Our cheapest acquisition was $82,000.
Well, yeah. Well, that's awesome. So, I mean, really, to put things in perspective, you're at $82,000 with a 7-8% interest rate. That's kind of like equivalent to what I'm paying, pretty much. you know?
But that's kind of like it's smart acquisitions. 82,000 got us a house that appreciated at 188, to be exact.
Almost 200.
And it turned into a 6-bedroom, 3-bath.
Yeah.
Generates like $5,000, $6,000 a month.
Yeah. So I just, like, going back to what I said, I just feel like if you're in a major metro area, you're safe, you know? You're not going to do this in the boonies or a cow town.
That's why we're in Orlando, Tampa, Jackson, Miami.
Yeah.
Now, Lakeland, for example, is a good example of a...
Merging market.
Correct.
Merging market.
Right? In between both major cities, but still very
Affordable.
Reasonable. And we have Patswoods there and do very well.
They're not doing well?
They do very well.
They do very well?
They do
We
very
have
well.
Patswoods in Plant City,
Yeah.
Lakeland.
Because you have all those commuters that cannot live in those two cities, and they chose that middle
Yeah.
ground, which is still accessible.
Are you guys, I remember I asked you this in the previous walkthrough that we
Then
did.
I'll let her answer.
Huh?
Then I'll let her answer on that one.
Oh, okay.
What?
Where are you guys putting the marketing dollars? Are they in the major metro areas? Like, so if I buy a property in Lakeland,
Yeah.
right? Me as the investor, I see on your website, you guys are only showcasing the major metro areas of most
Yeah.
places. Now I do see like you incorporated Ocala in there, which is a small horse town, which I think is also another great opportunity, Ocala,
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
But it's typically you guys' hubs are the major metro areas. How are people in Lakeland getting marketing dollars to their listings?
Well, our marketing dollars expand, so like Tampa and Orlando, they expand, so they overlap. So they're still covering Lakeland. And
Yeah.
right now there is a big initiative with expansion for marketing dollars to those smaller hubs
Right.
around those cities.
Right, right.
So we're focusing on just all of Florida outside of the Panhandle, because that's a whole other universe in itself. So we're doing like Gainesville, Jacksonville.
Yes.
And works almost like
Yeah, I saw that.
including all of that.
Right, right. Of course, it's just kind of like when Airbnb came out. It was the big major hubs, and now they started
right.
growing. Now they're everywhere, and it
Yes.
doesn't matter. You can have a property anywhere.
Anywhere.
You
know.
can put a pad split anywhere,
Anywhere.
but
Yeah.
it's literally called pad split
split
anywhere.
anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she said, we pay for a DMA. DMA tells you this window of area, going 30 miles. They'll tell you the counties, and then some do overlap. And so I would say that it's still marketing. It's still paid marketing. They still pay $340,000 into the marketing efforts, but where there's overlap is not as strong as it being in the core markets, being in Orlando, being in Winter Park, being in Tampa.
Right.
They still make sense because we have properties in Zephyr Hills. Sarasota is not a part of any of the DMAs, but Sarasota actually has higher average rates than Tampa and
And
Orlando.
does very well.
Yeah, yeah. Sarasota.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also important to look at like the economics of where you're investing into, like basic job growth. That's what fuels these rooms or basic
Correct.
job growth. That's why I keep
Those
going
are
back
the
to that.
geeks that love that, and I love that. So like,
Yeah.
there's the normal rep stuff that we do where it's like basic. Hey, bus line. Hey, this, and how do you come up with the weekly rates? Pad Split does give you guidance based off data that they have, but when you don't have the data, where do you come up with these numbers? Because
Yep.
all these zip codes are now all hidden. So I've gone through a couple of conversations with people where we're looking up, and this is where we geek out. What are the apartment complexes that are in that vicinity?
Yeah.
What's the job industry?
Yes.
What's the average job weekly rate? I mean, not weekly rate, but
Right.
pay.
Right.
What's the salary?
Yep.
And then using all of that and getting into demographics, getting into population,
Right.
single,
Right.
and then figuring out if. But again, that takes.
Yep. Yeah, it takes time. So like me coming from like, because I also buy big multifamilies, 70 units plus, right? I have access to resources that typically people wouldn't have access to
Right.
that cost thousands of dollars. So what I've done is I broke it down to where things are accessible, like censusbureau.com. You go there, what do those people do? They're blowing your phone up, knocking on your doors. Those people are aggressive.
Yeah, they are.
Dude, have you seen those people?
Yeah.
There are people who do surveying around everywhere for people's job, how many people live in this home, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think Census Bureau and the bestplaces.net, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. Are you guys familiar with bestplaces.net? Just taught you something.
Yep.
Bestplaces.net is really good for data as well.
Okay.
And it tells you about room rentals, families, average age, everything. So that's a really good site for you guys to use as well.
Love it.
So, well, cool, man. Well, I'm glad we got to jam out today. It was awesome. Where do people find you? How do people find you guys?
Our
Do they blow you up?
socials.
Can I put your cell phone number on
Yes.
this?
I mean, weird enough,
I'm just
I
kidding.
still have my
Just
phone number from the wholesale
bring up
days,
your-
so
Yeah.
No, for now, emails and social medias for sure is the best way to reach us.
Okay, so
Or through Javi. That's it. Javi
Oh,
knows how to
through me.
reach us.
Javier has a link.
I'm their concierge service.
He said, oh, through me.
Yeah.
This is my admin. No, Javi's going to have definitely a link that you go ahead and click on. That's going to redirect them to me internally. So you'll get us if you go through his link. Social medias, we have Instagram, Facebooks, and then Facebook group, and it's the Pad Split National Host Group.
And that group's growing. So
We just started this year.
yeah, they have 700-800 members, I think.
800?
700-800 members, guys. There's all different hosts in there chiming in, talking about their experience. I'm gonna start chiming in more as well,
Love
talk
it.
about my experience.
Offer the
Love
course
it.
in there. Honestly, some people need
Yeah.
it at the end of the day.
Cool,
Like,
cool. No, yeah, no, for sure. We're gonna make some conversions in there. No, just kidding. But no, yeah, no, 100%. And then, you know, on the flip side, you know, if you know people who just need a lot of questions answered, you can always refer them to the course, and that way we can, you know, hey, we have this consolidated from A to Z on how to do this.
Yeah.
Javi's doing this, you know, whatever. But no, that's awesome. So I appreciate you guys coming out today and giving us your time, giving us your expertise, giving the world and giving them an understanding what Pad Split's about. Guys, don't forget, click the description below, go below. We have everything below, what we talked about. I'm actually going to also include free a shopping list of everything that I've included in my Pad Split, because there's a lot of things that you guys have to consider. Everything from security cameras to door locks to furnishings, how I'm furnishing it. I'm going to give that to you guys for free. That will be in this description. And don't forget to reach out to them. They're the account executives for Florida. They have a ton of great information and resources. Let them be you guys' resource, guys. This is super important. They work directly with Pad Split. I'm just the investor, the guinea pig, trying to learn from them as much as I can. So reach out to them or reach out to me. Thank you guys for tuning into the Be Bold podcast, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.